Hi, I've got your energy stories for the fifth week of January 2023. And in the first one, Bloomberg New Energy Finance indicates that 2022 was the first year in which the global financial system invested as much money on clean energy tech as it spent on producing hydrocarbons. It was also the first year in which clean tech investments topped $1 trillion, up 31% from the year before, and hit $1.1 trillion of support for renewable power, electric cars, storage, and hydrogen. Solar and wind garnered $495 billion of that, and EVs grabbed $466 billion, while nearly half of all the investments, $546 billion, were in China. The EU came in next at $180 billion, with the US trailing at $141 billion in third place. BNEF estimates that annual investments in the energy transition must triple for the remainder of the decade if we are to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. The Environmental Protection Agency announced it will reject requests from DTE Electric, Salt River Project, Luminant Generating, and other companies to continue dumping coal ash from a total of 6 coal power plants into unlined ponds. Coal ash contains toxins including mercury, cadmium, and arsenic, and the ponds cause groundwater contamination. About 10,000 megawatts of generation are affected by this EPA decision. While R+ Hydro announced submission of a final license application to the FERC for its 900 megawatt pumped storage project in Wyoming with about 10 hours of duration. This project is meant to support a growing fleet of solar and wind projects and will cost roughly $2.5 billion. Also in storage, Form Energy has entered into definitive agreements with Xcel Energy to deploy its long-duration iron-air battery systems at 2 of Xcel's retiring coal plant locations in Minnesota and Colorado. Each site will involve a deployment of 10 megawatts of capacity, offering 100 hours of duration, with expected commissioning in 2025 pursuant to regulatory OKs. Form Energy and Xcel use modeling to determine and validate how the multi-day storage system will help economically integrate large amounts of wind and other renewables into the grid while enhancing reliability in the context of both normal weather variations and more extreme events. And speaking of planning for extreme events, JFK Airport in New York will be getting an 11.34 megawatt microgrid for its new Terminal 1. Alpha Structure will install and operate a combination of 7.66 megawatts of solar with 13,000 panels, 2 megawatts of 2-hour duration batteries, and 3.68 megawatts of fuel cells. The equipment will be grouped into 4 power islands that can operate independently but also work as an integrated unit, keeping the 23-gate terminal operating in the event of a power outage. A Canary Media article noted the high value at risk of airport outages, citing the 2017 11-hour blackout at Atlanta's Hartsfield Airport that cost Delta Airlines $40 million. Canary also noted that 7 other U.S. commercial airports also have microgrids. The National Renewable Energy Lab just released a report citing the need to develop a supply chain to support the U.S. offshore wind industry and estimated a need for investments exceeding $22 billion to build out critical resources such as manufacturing facilities, ports, and large installation vessels. Those vessels alone can cost $500 million each. Also last week, a consortium of clean energy and environmental groups published a report indicating the need to develop an integrated planning process to address offshore wind, and most especially the need to develop coordinated transmission infrastructure that will optimize offshore wind development well beyond 2030 as the industry moves further offshore. Europe has already learned this lesson, moving from one-off projects, each with its own transmission line to the mainland, to an offshore grid approach that makes future development far more cost-effective and looks at the entire ecosystem as a whole. Well, Tesla plans to invest $3.6 billion to continue growing its Gigafactory in Nevada. In a blog, Tesla indicated it will add 3,000 new employees and build 2 new factories. One will be a 100 gigawatt-hour battery cell factory, making its new, larger 4680 form factor cells, and the other will be the first high-volume semi-factory to build Tesla's new electric tractor trailers that boast 500 miles of range and energy consumption of under 2 kilowatt hours per mile. Well, that's all for this week. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.